also want to say thank you so much for 800 subscribers. I can't believe how quickly the subscriber count's going up, and it just makes me so happy, and I'm glad that people are enjoying the videos as much as I am enjoying making them. So yeah, thank you so much for all the support. But with that all being said, let's just get straight on, because this is going to be long. As always, I write down my thoughts in my Illumicrate reading journal. I just love how this sounds. I hate the cover of it though, I think it's so ugly, but it's like fake leather. I love it, it sounds so nice. I've actually used quite a lot of this. Okay, but here we are. The first book I read in February, I mostly read in January. I finished it on February the 1st. It was a really short non-fiction book. And yeah, I read it in a few days, but I finished it on the 1st of February. And that's a non-fiction book about Taylor Swift. I'm just a girl. But this is Heartbreak is the national anthem. How Taylor Swift reinvented pop music by Rob Sheffield. As I said, it was really short. It was like 200 pages, or I think it was actually less than 200 pages. Yeah, like 170 pages. But I actually really didn't enjoy this. I gave this 2 stars, which yeah, is pretty bad for me. I had a lot of opinions about this book. Obviously, as you can imagine, it's meant to be, as it says, it's meant to be about how Taylor Swift reinvented pop music, but I don't actually think he answered that question at all. I don't even think he posed the question in the book, other than just on the title page. I found it interesting enough, and I learned a few things from it. And when I was starting reading it, I felt like he was really he'd researched it really well. But then as I went through, there are a few things that like he said that like we know aren't true, like about who he was saying certain songs were about, that she's spoken about them being about other people or other things. And so that started to annoy me. And Rob Sheffield himself is I think he's a Rolling Stones reporter. And so I thought he'd know what he was talking about, and I think he did. I just think there was a few points where he missed the mark. I did enjoy the breakdowns of like some songs and some lyrics he was doing. Like he had a full chapter that was about All Too Well, or gosh, I read it so long ago I can't remember any other ones, but the All Too Well one is sticking out in my brain. But the structure of the book itself made literally 0 sense. It wasn't structured in any way, it just flitted around throughout her career. We'd be talking about a song that she released last year, and then he'd go back to do a song that she released 15 years ago, and it would come back forward again, so it just didn't really make any. I also thought there were way too many personal stories about him in here. I don't really care to read about how many times he's met Taylor Swift, you know, like I'm not him. But yeah, so I give this 2 stars. I was sent this one by the publisher, HQ Stories. Who is that? I don't know who HQ Stories is an imprint of, but yeah, thank you to them for sending it to me. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't love this one. Then moved on to my first reread of the month. I was continuing on my Hunger Games reread with Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. Of course, I gave this 5 stars. You all know how I feel about this series by now. Catching Fire has always been my favourite book, so I was so excited to reread this one. Again, I did tab it this time through, so there's lots of tabs in there. Yeah, this reread just reminded me so much why I love this book, and Katniss as a character. Katniss and Peter will forever have my whole heart. I love them. I love them so much. And yeah, this book just means so much to me. I love it so much. I think I reread this one in like 3 days, so I got through it super quickly. I don't want to talk too much about what it's about because it obviously is a sequel, but then equally I feel like everyone knows what this is about. But just know that I love this book with my whole heart. And this copy is just so destroyed. It's so well loved. Next, I read a graphic novel that was sent to me by the publisher and the author, and that is Phantom Hearts by Rosie Talbot, who's the author, and Sarah Maxwell, who I think did the artwork. And when they sent it to me, they got Rosie to sign it for me, so it says, "To Caitlin, I hope you love it," and then her signature there with a little heart up the top here. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I read it in a day. It's quite big for a graphic novel, and it was quite dense. Like, there was a lot of talking, a lot of pictures. Spoiler! A lot of talking and a lot of pictures, and just a lot to digest as you were going through it. But I really enjoyed it. It's a teen graphic novel that's a romance, but also kind of a mystery, which I thought was really interesting. To start off with, I was a little bit confused by all of the characters because I thought the artwork kind of made them look a little bit similar. But once I figured out who was who, I really got on well with the story. I thought the plot was very unique. They're following Malia, whose life is kind of upended after an accident happens on a school bus that her dad was driving that resulted in a few students from her school passing away, and then her dad is in a coma, and he's getting blamed by the media for like causing the crash, and she's basically trying to prove that someone had it out for the people that passed away in the bus crash to prove her dad's innocence. And what's the name? Along the way, she meets a girl, Keezy, who is helping her out with trying to figure out what happened, and then they start a relationship as well, and it was so sweet. Yeah, I really enjoyed the romance. As I said, I thought the plot was very unique. I did see the plot twist coming, but that was only because I'd seen something on TikTok that made me think that might be the case. And I think if I hadn't have known the plot twist was coming, and I hadn't have guessed it in the way that I had, I think I would have liked it more. I think I'd kind of, because it had been spoiled for me a little bit, I wasn't as like, whoa, because the plot twist was really good, but I was aware it was going to happen. Yeah, it was really well done. I saw a post on the author's TikTok where she said that she wanted it to be in black and white, so essentially the whole book is like a colouring book that you can colour in, but I think personally I would have enjoyed it more if it was in colour. I think that just would have helped me differentiate between the characters a little bit more, but that's a very minor complaint. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. like everyone else on the internet in February, I read Ali Hazelwood's newest book, which is called Deep End. Was her first sports romance book, but it still had the elements of STEM that she incorporates in her books, which I really enjoyed. I'm not always a massive fan of sports romances, but this one I thought it worked really well. Our main character, Scarlett, is a platform diver, and our love interest, Lucas, is a swimmer, and they're like on the road to the Olympics as well. Yeah, I didn't expect the plot, like the romantic plot that was in this one, but I ate it up. I don't know what I can say on YouTube, but the romance was a little bit spicier than she usually does, which I was not expecting, but I really enjoyed it. This relationship is what Hannah and Christian from 50 Shades of Grey wish that they were, or what E.L. James wishes she did with them. So, yeah, when I started reading this, you're introduced to Scarlett, obviously, and then Lucas, but Lucas is in a relationship with Scarlett's friend, and I was a bit hesitant about that, because I thought, like, oh, if there's going to be cheating or something like that, then I didn't love it. But Ali Hazelwood did a really good job of, when Lucas and his girlfriend split up, kind of creating a scenario so that Scarlett and Lucas like had the go ahead from the start, which I actually really enjoyed. But yeah, as I said, we're following Scarlett and Lucas, who are a diver and a swimmer, and they start up a relationship that's kind of more of a mutually beneficial arrangement. And yeah, their relationship was really, really sweet. We also got a cameo in here from Olive and Adam, which are characters from her first book, and I always love when she does that. But all her characters are so smart, and it's so sexy. I love them all. I think Deep End is probably up there with my favourite Ali Hazelwood books. My favourite was from her, this one. Then I really enjoyed Bride, which, by the way, did you all see we're getting a sequel to Bride called Mate? I think that was literally just announced this week, and it's coming out this year. I'm so excited. She really is treating us. And then I really liked Love Theoretically, the orange background. But Ali Hazelwood is like just an auto-buy author for me now. I will literally buy anything that she puts out. I really enjoy her books. Then I continued my Hunger Games reread, and I finished Mockingjay. Again, I read this one in about 3 days. Again, 5 stars. Oh, I forgot to say, Deep End I gave 4.75 stars. Wasn't quite 5 stars, but 4.75 stars for Deep End. Mockingjay, however, I gave 5 stars. Sorry. Every time I reread Mockingjay, the older I get, the more this book resonates with me. I think I can see a lot more parallels to our own world than I could when I first read it at 13, and honestly it scares me more than anything else. And I think I found myself connecting to Katniss in this reread for Mockingjay in a way that I haven't done in the past. There's a line where she basically speaks about how District 13 wouldn't send children into the battlefield, and she basically says, but they seem to forget that I am still a child myself. And I think that's a line that I've never focused too much on in previous rereads, but I really found myself like sitting back with that in this reread and like really deeping it. I was like, no, that's so true. And yeah, I think that changed my perspective on this book a little bit from previous rereads. Yeah, and I think I don't always cry when I reread these, but I cried rereading the end of this one, and I think that was just because of what I just mentioned. But no, I love this series. Again, I went through, put tabs in this one. There's so many tabs in this book. Mockingjay has got one of my favourite quotes of all time from a book in it, and if I can find it, I will read it to you. It's right at the end. It's said by Plutarch in the films. It's said by Haymitch, but it's in a letter from Plutarch. And he says, but collective thinking is usually short-lived. We're fickle, stupid beings with poor memories and a great gift for self-destruction. And I don't know, that quote has always stuck with me. I think it's so true, and especially with the way everything is at the minute. It rings very true. So yeah, we got a bit deep there. But yeah, 5 stars. Definitely the most destroyed out of the 3 of them. It got dropped in the bath. Not by me. Okay, next I read Scythe and Sparrow by Bryn Weaver, which is the 3rd and final book in this series, which I think is the Ruinous Love trilogy. Although with the way this ended, there's definitely got to be a 4th one. It's set in the same world at least. I gave this one 3 stars. Unfortunately, it's my least favourite from the trilogy. I don't know why, I just found it really difficult to connect with our characters, and I just don't think I loved the setting. So we are following, what's her name? Rose, who is a circus performer, and Fionn, who is a small town doctor. And Rose basically, with this series, they're all vigilante killers, and so Rose is basically attempting to do that, but it goes wrong, and she ends up getting injured and is left behind by the travelling circus while her leg heals, and she's taken in by Fionn. And yeah, their relationship grows from that. I just found Rose to be quite annoying. Like, she was always just so underprepared for any time that she decided she wanted to someone. And it frustrated me so much. Like, girl, I wanted her to get caught because of how stupid she was being. And like, she was putting Fionn in danger as well, because like, he kept coming out to help her when he really didn't need to. And yeah, she corrupted him. She definitely corrupted him. He was sweet, and then he wasn't. However, there was a raccoon in this book. A rabid raccoon. Was it rabid? It was on something. In fact, I can tell you from the trigger warnings. Bryn Weaver's trigger warnings are always hilarious. And in her list of trigger warnings, it says, "Are drug-addicted raccoons a trigger?" But I liked the drug-addicted raccoon. It was my favourite part. One thing I did enjoy in this book, though, is because this is the last one in the series, like, the scenes where all of the characters from all of the books are together, they actually mean something to you because you know all the characters. So there was a scene at the end with all of them, and I enjoyed that. But yeah, a little bit disappointed with this one. Next, I read a very small but very cute graphic novel that I gave 5 stars, The Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill. This, if this is just not the cutest thing you've ever seen, I don't know what is. The end pages are so cute, and the artwork is absolutely stunning. I'm obsessed with this. This is following, what was her name? Greta. As she is basically just learning about a type of dragon that they have in this world called tea dragons, and these tea dragons have leaves on their back, and you harvest their leaves and you make tea with it, and they bond with humans, and it's just so cute, kind of like a found family element to it as well. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's really, really short, so I literally read this in about 15 minutes, but I really enjoyed it. It is a trilogy. I don't know where it's going to go. As I said, read this one, I read the second one, which we'll talk about later, but the third one, I have no idea where it's going to go, but I really recommend this. Next, I read a chunky book. My gosh, it was really big. And this is one that I was sent by the publisher as well, which is Hot Escape. So thank you so much to them for sending me this arc. But this one is Quicksilver. If you can see all of my setup, and me, yeah. But I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. I think it's a little bit similar to like just every other romancy book at this point, but like I enjoyed it. The characters were great, the plot was really good, I really liked the romance, the narrative voice was really funny, and I found myself like laughing quite a few times. Our main character's name is Sirius, and she lives in a world where there's 2 suns and it's so oppressively hot, and they're all on water rations, and she lives in like the poorest, I can't remember if they were called districts or like sections, but she lives there, and they're all essentially quarantined in this section, and she manages to escape one day, and she steals something from a guard, and then she's got all these guards chasing her. They catch her, they take her back to the palace, and then she manages to ignite something that transports her to another world, which is essentially a world that's completely opposite to this. Everyone in the world she is transported to are all fae. They all have magic, and the world is essentially a world of ice, so completely the opposite to the world that she was living in. Our main guy character's name is Kingfisher, which I kind of hate, but he's mainly called Fisher in the book by his friends and everyone, and that made me hate the name Kingfisher a little bit less, because you could kind of forget that was his name. Yeah, I liked Sirius and Kingfisher's relationship, but I wasn't obsessed with it or anything. As I said, I think I've kind of just seen it before. It was nothing new, I guess. Sirius's friend Carrion from her world is in a lot of this, and he is extremely funny. I really enjoyed him. He had me laughing out loud a few times. There's also a little fox in this book, which is like her pet, called Onyx, and I loved Onyx as well. I liked the plot, but I felt it was a little bit slow. Not a lot happened until the end. She is essentially trying to make a bunch of rings that will be able to be used by the soldiers of this world, and she's just having to figure out how to do it with no instructions, and that is like the majority of the book, just her failed attempts at making these rings, but then at the end it really picked up. My main gripe with this book was that she used modern language a few times. Like at one point someone said like, oh, I'll give you the cliff notes, which I was like, why are we using the word cliff notes? They don't know what cliff notes are. But yeah, other than that, I enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. Next, I carried on with the Tea Dragon trilogy, and this one is the Tea Dragon Festival, which actually followed a different set of characters. That's why I have no idea where the third book's gonna go. In this one, we were following Rin, who is cousins with characters in the first book, but this is a prequel set years and years in advance. And again, there's a bunch of tea dragons, but Rin meets an actual dragon who comes to their village to help them. She befriends them, and yeah, it's just like what they get up to. There was a lot of food in this book because Rin is learning to cook. I'll see if I can find the food. Oh my gosh. Okay, just look how cute the tea dragons are. But yeah, there's a lot of food and stuff in this book which I really enjoyed. And again, I gave this one 5 stars. I find it so easy to give graphic novels 5 stars. I'm like, it was cute, 5 stars. But this was really cute. Finally, the last book that I read in February was Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, which I actually gave 3 stars. I've read one other Penelope Douglas book, which is Credence. I like this a lot more than Credence. My god, did I hate Credence. This one was better, but not by much. There's literally no plot to this though. The plot is just the relationship, which like is sometimes fine, but there's nothing within that. We are following Jordan, who is in a relationship with Cole, and she is 19, and they move in with Cole's dad to like save money, but then she starts, I don't know, catching feelings for Cole's dad, whose name is Pike, which is the stupidest. Yeah, one thing I'll say about Penelope Douglas, like, she's such a taboo author. I think it's because the subjects more so are taboo, but like, you have to work for the spice in this book. This one, the first spice scene, was literally over 250 pages in. It was like 260 pages in. And that's what I mean when there's no plot and you're not even getting to those bits. You're just kind of like, well, why am I reading this? Like, you're doing nothing with this book, which is what it felt like for most of it, that she's just doing nothing with it at all. It's a warning at the start of this book for misogyny, and there's so much misogyny in this. I guess at least because she's put the warning at the start, she's aware that she's putting it in there, and she's saying it's not good and it's not actually her necessarily thinking that way. But I hate all the misogyny, but I've come to the conclusion that Penelope Douglas just needs some therapy, and I do as well after reading this. But yeah, I did enjoy it more than Credence, but that's not hard because Credence honestly freaked me out. The main thing I like about this book is how floppy it is. Look at that. Look at that. Books in the UK, for some reason, have no flop. So this one is imported, as you can tell by the fact that the sticker's over the side. So it's got some flop to it. So I appreciate that from Penelope Douglas. Thank you, Penelope Douglas. But yes, that is everything that I read in February. I cannot believe I read so much. Definitely wasn't as good a month in terms of enjoyment factor as January was. January, I literally gave everything 5 stars. I've not had a month like that in ever, I don't think. February was a lot more up and down, but I did find some gems in there, especially the Tea Dragon Society. So I think if you can take any recommendation from this video, the Tea Dragon Society as a graphic novel is super cute, or Deep End by Ali Hazelwood if you are after a romance book. But yeah, let me know, what did you read? Let me know what you read in February. Thank you so much for watching this video. Feel free to leave a like and comment, or subscribe if you want to. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.